Game 4, Knicks and Sixers. This was playoff basketball. I love this.
Playoff basketball.
Well, what will you remember about this game?
Ooh. So glad you asked. So I said to you while watching this game, I go, don't forget this play. And the play was, it was in the fourth quarter after Jalen Brunson had gone down. Then he went to the locker room at the start of the fourth. And then when he was coming back in, it was an offensive possession after a nice block by Hart on the other end of the floor. And Brunson, shot clock winding down. What does he do? He makes something happen. And the reason why I said, don't forget that play, because it felt like, man, he's banged up. He's given it all he's got. And he's still the one that this Knicks team could rely on.
It was a nasty sequence, starting with the defensive play. A weak side block at the rim. Josh Hart just absolutely destroys Batum.
Beautiful.
Then, you're right, late in shot clock, it's Brunson, Embiid, one-on-one. Yes. Late shot clock, and somehow that little tough shot by Brunson goes in.
Bounce.
Bucket. Yeah, that felt like a swing play early in this game. All of a sudden, the Knicks are up 3-1 after this 97-92 victory. So much to talk about. I just thought it felt like playoff basketball. And in playoff basketball, you got to do the dirty things. You got to play physical. You got to get the second chance opportunities. The Knicks did that. 15 offensive rebounds for 21 second chance points. And this is what they do. I may be a Kings fan, Morgan, but the Knicks are like the easiest team to root for.
Absolutely.
They just play the right way.
They play hard, but then on top of this, the other thing that I mentioned to you in this whole situation with the Knicks playing, tough basketball, physical basketball, all the different things. Sixers, by the way, also playing that same way. I thought they did great too. But the thing I wanted to say about the Knicks was the way that Tibbs trusts his guys. And you look at who finished the game and him trusting his defense, especially when it was OG on Joel Embiid. And I guess my point, it's easy to root for a team too, not only the way that they play, but also having a coach that trusts them out there and allows them to play their way. It was cool to watch.
So, obviously, no Mitchell Robinson is in this game. Hartenstein was in foul trouble.
Yep.
Embiid went at him a ton in that third quarter and got to the free throw line. So, you're going, hey, he's got 5 fouls. We may not see him until later in the fourth.
Sure.
No, they went with Precious Achiuwa in there, went with that small ball lineup, but they didn't put Precious on Embiid. Like you said, they had OG Anunoby against Embiid. And this is why you trade for a guy like OG. Because he is a difference maker defensively.
Yes.
What he was able to do against Embiid, one, Embiid's gassed. He's hurt. The guy's got Bell's palsy, okay? I'm not acting like he's 100%.
No.
But OG is such a small defender. He is strong. He doesn't reach. He uses his length. And they did such a great job of playing off Embiid a little bit, giving him some space, but bringing over that double, and then the rotations were just perfect by the Knicks defense.
They were. And this is also without Dante DiVincenzo being out there.
Yeah.
And that was another guy that just couldn't really
They rolled with Deuce McBride.
Yes. And you love the way that these guys were rotating, like you said. It felt like they were all on a string. And the fact that it wasn't your starting unit out there to finish the game, and they still understood exactly what they needed to do, what the starting unit would do as a whole. It feels like the identity of this team. We obviously know physicality comes to mind and all that, but truly the way that they just play together and for one another, you could see it there on the defensive end, especially the way that they slowed down Joel Embiid in that fourth.
Joel Embiid had 1 point. In the fourth quarter. He was 0 for 5. I don't know what the Sixers offense was doing at times. I felt like they didn't get him the ball enough to try to create something, because here's what I do know. The guy gets a lot of calls. He creates some contact, and it felt like they went away. Now, did they go away because he's like a decoy out there?
Yeah.
He was gassed. He wasn't feeling right. Remember, he took that fall in this game, landed on Brunson, I believe, too. He was grabbing his knee. It seems like he grabs his knee almost every game. Like, he's playing through it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what was going on, but it just seems so predictable. Like, the one sequence that was a train wreck, I think it was right around 3 minutes ago in the fourth quarter, seemed like Maxey and Lowry were just trying to get Maxey with the ball with Brunson defending, and they just couldn't. There was no other movement around. It ends up leading to Embiid getting a grenade 3 that was blocked by Achua.
Oh.
And it just felt like there were so many soul-sucking plays where the Knicks played great defense. They're getting the rebounds. Josh Hart wasn't knocking down shots in this game. The guy had 17 rebounds. 5 offensive rebounds.
Wow. I didn't realize that's what he had finishing
I mean,
with.
he's unbelievable.
And it's like you could look at like any possession of this game and you're seeing, even like we've mentioned before, the 50-50 balls fall into Josh Hart's hands. But it's not because they just fall there and it's like, oh, it's lucky, it's fluky. It's because they position themselves in the right places. They are always crashing the boards. They are always making sure that they are attacking in every way possible, remaining aggressive. And I felt like this was just one of those games where if you were like, what is the identity of the New York Knicks? Like, this was the game.
Yeah.
And it was a playoff game. It was just beautiful.
The Knicks in the fourth quarter were 6 of 21. They shot 28%. They are 1 of 8 from 3. They scored 20 points. The difference, they're getting offensive rebounds.
Yep.
They're getting to the free throw line. And they held the Sixers to 16 in the quarter. I mean, in the game, the Knicks shoot 43%, 7 of 27 from 3. But when you're doing those other things, when you're getting the offensive rebounds, it's a game changer. By the way, it was 90 to 89 at the 5:04 mark of the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Knicks are up 90 to 89. The rest of the way, the Sixers went 0 for 11. The only points they got the rest of the game came at the free throw line in the final 5:04. Nick Nurse has to be looking back at what was going on with us offensively. Give the Knicks credit. Their defense was engaged, but it just seemed like there was no movement.
Yes.
The fact that you're just staring at, can Maxey create something? Embiid's not a factor. Where's everybody else?
It's, again, because the Knicks threw something else at the Sixers, which was OG basically on Joel Embiid. And then you throw that double. You're used to the double coming over, but it felt like every guy was able to rotate over in time and just make everyone's life more difficult. You know, you saw Tyrese Maxey there even at the end have some nice plays all the way to the basket, high off the glass. He was still doing what he does such a great job of, but it was much harder for him because of the defense. And then finally, Kyle Lowry being Kyle Lowry, who did he end up taking down on that screen?
It was OG.
It was OG.
Oh,
he took him down on that screen. And that was the way that they could get something going even in the final seconds of still being able to get a free throw, get the ball, all of those things. So, yeah, it just felt like everything seemed a lot harder for the Sixers team. Nothing was flowing the right way. And you're right. What is Nick Nurse going to do in the next game, especially if Tibbs throws that same lineup at them even more?
And probably going to see some of that same lineup with that adjustment. I love seeing it. They just rotated so well on that. You could switch everything. They felt pretty good about the rotations. It looked really good. Also, before we get to Brunson, shout out to Deuce McBride. This guy's already a dog, but when he's hitting threes,
it's fun.
night-night. Yep. I mean, he was great out there. He finished with 13 points. He had 4 rebounds, knocked down 3 of 5 from downtown. So he hit 3 of the 7 Knicks threes in this game.
Big moments.
Now the player of the game, Jalen Brunson. I don't even know what to say about this guy. This like smallest guy on the court gets to his spots. How many? We saw him beat on him.
Yeah.
We saw Harris on him.
Yep.
Maxey, Oubre, Lowry. He was cooking everybody.
It was one of those days for him. And, you know, if you remember, if you're a Kings fan out there and you remember watching the game with when the Knicks came to go to One Center and Jalen Brunson couldn't miss. Yes, I know it's traumatic to even think about, but truly it was like, oh, he's getting everywhere. This is annoying. To see him do it now against another team and to do it in a playoff game, it's just jaw-dropping performance from this guy. And a guy that, by the way, gets banged up at the end and still comes back out and gets to his spots, gets his. And there's times I thought the Knicks offense toward the end ended up getting a little bit more stagnant where they're like, go ISO, rely on Jalen Brunson, rely on him. And it was getting frustrating, but what it would do would create the defense to still shift and have to pay so much attention to him that they were able to get a spray 3, that they were able to move a little bit more without the basketball, and he was able to get someone else that might have had a more open look.
You think about all the Knicks legends over the years, right? Well, Brunson makes history. A franchise record 47 points in a playoff game. He had 47 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds. He did it on 18 of 34 shooting. Great shooting. He was 9 of 11 at the free throw line. No, I mean, this guy's a gamer. You know, if you think about what the Knicks have had to deal with this year, Julius Randle out, Robinson now out again. They lose Boyan in this game.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, all right, next man up. Who's going to play? They're playing different lineups, but the one constant has been this guy who's been playing at an all NBA level, and he gets to his spots, and he's not afraid of the moment. He plays at his speed. He can play physical. But his ability to be so shifty,
Yes.
slow the game down, and be able to finish, it's remarkable.
When we were talking about him during the game, one of the words that you used to describe him, and it's just, I mean, simple. Patience.
Yep.
He's such a patient player. He plays with so much patience and composure. And I mean, you're seeing the way that it's not even like the quickest guy out there. It's not the strongest guy out there. He's just a dog. And like what he's been able to do with his handles, though, go in and out between the legs, then have that first step and find a way to get that floater, to know how to use his size when he does get into the paint. It's absolutely incredible the way he's been able to create space, his timing of everything. It's just beautiful basketball.
And what do you do?
What
right?
do you
Because
do?
he can break down.
You hit him.
It seems like anyone one-on-one.
Yeah.
If you throw blitzes at him,
Oh,
you're in
good
trouble because he's going to
luck.
make the right play.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the answer is at this point for Jalen Brunson, because he gets to his spots and it looks nasty. So the Knicks are now up 3-1 in this series with the chance to close it out at Madison Square Garden. If you were watching the game and you weren't paying attention, you might have thought, oh, I thought they were at Madison Square Garden.
Damn.
Knicks fans
Damn.
took over that building the
I
last two
know.
games, and I get it. It's a mixed crowd. They're close by. But
Yep.
I am stunned at hearing MVP chants, at how loud it got in that building for the Knicks.
Dude, even when Deuce McBride was knocking down three, Deuce, like you could hear it in the crowd, and it felt in some ways that home court energy was there for them. Now, like you said, they're close enough. It's going to happen. I get it, but it can't feel good if you're feeling it, especially can't feel good after a game like this.
The last thing I want to talk about with the Knicks, too, with this win, 97-92, is just because of the mentality. You said, hey, Brunson's a dog. Well, they got dogs everywhere on this team,
Yeah.
and they don't get rattled off missed shots. And when you don't get rattled off missed shots and you just keep playing and you defend, this is probably one of Tom Thibodeau's favorite games. It's like, yeah, we didn't shoot the ball well, but we just kept playing. And
Yep.
unlikely hero stepped up. OG, he was a monster on the glass too. We talk about what Josh Hart did with 17 rebounds. OG gives you 16, 14, 3 blocks. Josh Hart also had 3 blocks. But OG's defense, his ability to defend 1 through 5, and that you feel comfortable enough to put him
Special.
against Embiid.
Yeah.
And he was still knocking down shots. He doesn't try to do too much offensively, but he could hit that pull-up jumper. He'll take a 3. He didn't make one today, but I thought he had some really nice moments.
Yeah, and some of those moments, even defensively, like you're talking about, like we know what he's capable of doing. But it's like we've said with any team, when you have other guys
Yep.
that are capable of putting on that perimeter pressure and also doing their job, it allows you to elevate your game and your skill sets and what you're so great at. And he was able to do that, obviously, because everyone was playing at such a high level and being able to crash the boards like that. And one more thing about Hart as well, 5. Remember when he got his 5th foul and how long he was playing with that 5th foul and still being able to play aggressive.
He didn't change it.
How many times did I say to you, I said, why isn't everyone just attacking Josh Hart? Get him the hell off the floor. If you're the Sixers, get him off the floor. You do not want that guy out there. They're already down some guys. Just another thing that I thought it was a missed opportunity for the Sixers as well.
Embiid gives him 27 points. He did on 7 of 19 shooting, though. He was 12 of 14 at the free throw line. A lot of those coming in the third quarter. Maxey had 23 points, but just 8 of 21 shooting. The Sixers shot just 35% in this game. So feels like it's going to be really tough. I mean, here's what I do know. This series, I hope it goes long.
Yeah.
Just because I've dug it. It's been super competitive. It's gone chippy. There's a lot of jaw jacking. Bring on more of this series.
Oh, yeah.
Knicks
I
fans
love
are
it.
like, no, close this shit out. Let us know what you think of what you thought about game 4. What do you think of Brunson's performance? What stood out to you about the Knicks defense? Let us know in the comments below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.